Have you ever wondered why 1 hour a day can change everything? Not just your body, not just your bank account, but your entire life. Stay with me, because this message could be the turning point you've been waiting for. How much of your life could change if you gave just 1 hour a day to your future? Not an hour spent drifting. Not an hour spent scrolling, reacting, or numbing yourself with noise. But 1 hour, sharp, sacred, intentional, dedicated to building the person you say you want to become. It sounds simple, almost too simple. But that's the deception. Most people don't lose their potential in dramatic collapses. They lose it in quiet neglect, in the small, unnoticed decisions to postpone, to excuse, to delay, until later, until Sunday. And in doing so, they trade a lifetime of meaning for a few moments of comfort. But the truth is, greatness isn't built in chaos. It's built in discipline, one focused hour at a time. In this episode, we explore the philosophy and the practice behind this principle. You don't need massive overhauls or miracles. You need consistency. You need direction. You need to protect and invest one powerful hour each day. And let that hour reshape your destiny over time. Drawing from the wisdom of Socrates, Plato, Nietzsche, Carl Jung, Rohn, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, we'll break down how small, relentless dedication can rewrite the course of your life, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. Because time is not your enemy. Distraction is. And once you reclaim that first, most precious hour, you reclaim everything. What if everything you ever wanted, the strength, the clarity, the success, the peace, wasn't hidden behind some secret formula or massive, life-shattering event, but behind 1 hour of intention, repeated every single day? Most people look at their dreams like this: standing at the bottom of a mountain, overwhelmed by how far they have to climb. They tell themselves, maybe someday I'll be ready, maybe someday I'll have the time. But that mountain doesn't require you to sprint to the top. It requires you to take one step. Today, tomorrow, and the next one. One deliberate hour every day. That's where destinies are built. Not in dramatic moments, but in quiet, invisible discipline. Rohn said it perfectly. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. It's not about overhauling your entire life overnight. It's about making small, consistent investments into your future self, the one you claim to want to meet. Because the truth is, you're either investing in that self every day, or you're drifting further away from it. Socrates warned us about the illusion of a busy life. Being busy isn't the same as being disciplined. Filling your hours with tasks, noise, and endless reactions doesn't move you forward. It buries you under the illusion of progress. 1 hour of conscious, focused effort. Learning, building, creating, healing, refining is worth more than 10 hours of chaotic busyness. But why 1 hour? Because an hour is enough to move the needle without overwhelming your system. It's long enough to break through resistance, but short enough to remove your excuses. That hour doesn't ask for your whole day. It asks for your priority, your respect, your decision. It demands that you carve out a sacred space, where your dreams are no longer background noise, they become the focus. Imagine what would happen if you invested 1 hour a day into your body. Real focused movement. 1 hour a day into your mind. Deep study. 1 hour into your spirit. Meditation. Reflection. Gratitude. 1 hour into your craft. Building. Creating. Refining. Stack those hours day after day. And you're not just changing your habits. You're rewiring your destiny. Sometimes the willingness to show up, without fireworks, without applause, without the immediate dopamine hit of instant results, is what separates the dreamers from the doers. 1 hour a day doesn't look dramatic. It looks almost invisible. But that's how all powerful transformations begin. Quietly, patiently, relentlessly. So anchor yourself now. If I had started this 1 year ago, where would I be today? And more importantly, where could I be 1 year from today if I start now? The future is not made in grand declarations. It's made in small, decisive hours. People call it destiny, when in truth it was always choice. 1 hour a day. That's it. That's everything. Own your first hour, or lose the day. How many battles are lost before they even begin? Simply because the first hour of the day was given away without a fight. Most people don't realize it, but the first hour after waking is not just another block of time. It's the foundation. It's the mental operating system you install for the day ahead. If you stumble into your morning, checking your phone, reacting to notifications, rushing through chaos, you are not starting the day. The day is starting. You are not leading. You are being led. Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself in the midst of an empire's chaos, said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That is the mindset of someone who owns their first hour, before the world has a chance to pull them into its storms. Because if you don't claim that first hour, the world will. It will flood it with noise, with demands, with distractions. You'll be thrown into reaction mode before your feet even hit the floor. And once you start your day in reaction, it's almost impossible to reclaim it. You are no longer acting from vision. You are acting from survival, one notification at a time. Henry David Thoreau captured the cost of this mistake beautifully. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. When you give your first hour away mindlessly, you're not just losing minutes. You're trading your most potent energy, your clearest thoughts, your freshest willpower, for things that usually don't deserve them. You're pouring your best self into the void of urgency, distraction, and shallow noise. But it doesn't have to be that way. Owning your first hour is a radical act of self-leadership. It's setting an anchor of intention before the tides of the day begin to pull at you. It can be simple. A few minutes of reflection, a powerful page from a book, a calm, unrushed breakfast, writing your priorities down before you touch a screen, moving your body to remind yourself you're alive, meditating to clear the static before it builds. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be elaborate. But it must be yours. Because once you own the first hour, mental momentum, emotional resilience, clarity, a feeling of self-respect, they carry into every conversation, every challenge, every decision. The opposite is true too. If you start your day scattered, reactive, overstimulated, you carry that jittery, distracted energy into everything. And often it's not the big failures that destroy your progress. It's the hundreds of tiny, misaligned choices made from a restless mind that never had a chance to center itself. Ask yourself, how do I currently spend my first hour? Because if you lose the first hour, you lose the rhythm, you lose the tone. But if you win it, if you protect it, guard it, honor it, the rest of the day becomes a reflection of that victory. Start strong, start sovereign, start awake, like a sacred treasure, a sacred window between who you were yesterday and who you have the chance to become today. And yet, most people guard their money, their time, even their opinions, but they leave their first hour exposed, open to distractions, open to noise, open to the agendas of everyone except themselves. Seneca gave us a warning disguised as wisdom when he wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." That's what happens when you don't guard your first hour. Your mind is pulled in 10 directions before breakfast. Your focus is scattered before your feet even touch the ground. And instead of moving through the day like a force, you drift through it like a leaf, blown by the wind. Guarding your first hour means treating it like something priceless. Because it is. Socrates wonders in words that echo through time. The unexamined life is not worth living. And he wasn't speaking from philosophy alone. He was issuing a survival strategy for the soul. Because without examination, without pause, without honest confrontation with yourself, you don't grow. Disguised as wondering why you feel stuck, every hour you invest in yourself deserves a follow-up question. What did I learn? Where did I get stronger? Where did I fall short? Reflection turns experience into wisdom. It extracts meaning from action. It transforms random effort into evolution. Deepen this insight when he said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." External achievements can dazzle the world, but internal reflection awakens you. It shows you the hidden patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior that are shaping your life without your awareness. Reflection is not passive nostalgia. It's an active, powerful tool for recalibration. And after reflection comes refinement, because the goal isn't just to notice, it's to adjust. You study what worked and do it better. You study what failed and build smarter strategies. You take every mistake, every setback, every awkward stumble, and instead of labeling them as defeats, you turn them into teachers. Then, and this is where most people fail, you repeat. You don't reflect once and move on. You reflect, refine, and repeat relentlessly, like a craftsman sharpening a blade, like an athlete studying game footage before sleep. You build your excellence not in a single moment of insight, but in a continuous, humble loop of noticing, improving, and trying again. And the magic is that when you live this way, when reflection becomes as natural as action, your growth stops being episodic. It becomes inevitable. Ask yourself now, when was the last time I truly examined my efforts, my habits, my inner dialogue? What would change if I made reflection and refinement part of my daily life, not just a rare moment of crisis? Because without reflection, you risk living on autopilot. Without refinement, you risk building habits that harden into prisons. And without relentless repetition, you risk cementing mistakes. That is the real grind. That is the true art of becoming. Prioritize your health. It's your true wealth. What's the point of building an empire if you're too weak, too exhausted to enjoy it? It's easy to sacrifice health in the name of ambition. Easy to tell yourself you'll get back in shape once the business is stable, once the deadline's passed, once life calms down. But here's the reality. There is no later. There is only the body you're building or breaking in today. And if you don't prioritize your health, life will, at the cost of everything you worked so hard to achieve. Marcus Aurelius, facing the relentless demands of ruling an empire, reminded himself, the body ought to be treated more rigorously, that it may not be disobedient to the mind. He understood something most people forget. Your body isn't just a vehicle. It's your first line of defense, your foundation, the vessel through which all your purpose flows. Neglect it, and everything else eventually collapses. Modern truth. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. You can rent houses, you can rebuild businesses, but you can't trade in your body for a new one. This is it. The health you protect now determines the energy, clarity, resilience, and joy you'll have access to in every future chapter of your life. And yet, health is one of the first things sacrificed. Sleep is traded for productivity, but your health powers everything you do. Your dreams are heavy. Your goals demand stamina. Your vision needs you, even when you don't feel like it. By feeding yourself nutrients instead of numbing yourself with junk. By treating rest as an essential part of high performance, not a weakness. 1 hour a day dedicated to your health can change everything. Not just your physique, your mind, your emotional stability, your resilience under pressure. Because the body and mind are not separate. A weak, sluggish body creates a foggy, reactive mind. A strong, energized body sharpens the mind into a weapon of focus, creativity, and presence. And here's the truth that hurts to hear, but saves lives when understood. If you don't make time for wellness, you will be forced to make time for illness. It's not a possibility, it's a guarantee. Ask yourself, if I treated my health like the sacred asset it is, how would my life look different 6 months from now? How much more energy, patience, clarity, and joy would I carry into every other area of my life? Because wealth without health is bankruptcy in slow motion. Success without vitality is just a prettier form of suffering. Newsflash, protect the vessel, because your future self, strong, sharp, vibrant, is depending on the decisions you make today. Use the quiet hour to build financial independence. Have you ever wondered why some people quietly build while others loudly struggle? It's not luck. It's not just intelligence. It's discipline in the quiet hours. The hours when no one's watching. When there's no applause. When every part of you would rather scroll or drift. Financial independence isn't born in big, flashy moments. It's built in the small, consistent, almost invisible decisions you make when nobody's paying attention. Freedom comes from 3 great evils: boredom, vice, and need. But not just any work, intentional work, quiet, focused, strategic work. Done when the world is sleeping, when distractions are low, when your mind is clearest and your ambitions are sharpest. And Jim Rohn sharpened the lesson even further. Wages make you a living. Profits make you a fortune. Wages are important. They pay the bills. But if you want to step beyond survival into freedom, you need to build something bigger than your paycheck. You need to invest, create, build, and set your work to work for you. Here's the mistake most people make. They wait for free time. They wait for perfect conditions to start that side project, that investment, that skill-building journey. But the truth is, the free time you're waiting for is already here, in the quiet hours. Always think, 1 hour a day. That's all it takes to start rewriting your financial story. 1 hour spent learning about investments instead of mindlessly consuming entertainment. 1 hour developing a skill that compounds over time into a second income. 1 hour building a business that can one day run without you, until the job disappears, until the unexpected hits, until the dream you shelf starts gathering so much dust it suffocates. And in that moment you realize, freedom was never built in grand decisions. It was built, or lost, in how you spent your quiet hours. But here's the beauty. It's never too late to start. The world is louder than ever. Distractions are endless. But there is always one sacred space, between waking and sleeping, where you can reshape your future. And if you thank those hours, quietly, patiently, intentionally, they turn into something louder than words. They turn into ownership. They turn into sovereignty. They turn into a life where you don't just make a living, you make choices. Ask yourself now, what am I doing with my quiet hours? Am I building dependence or independence? Because every hour matters. Every small choice counts. And 1 year from today, you'll either be grateful you started or wish you had. Stack your hours. Stack your legacy. If this message stirred something in you, if it gave you something to reflect on, don't let it end here. Subscribe to Wisdom and Love Corner, where every video is a step toward the best version of you. Share this with someone who needs it, and drop a comment. What will you dedicate your 1 hour to starting today?